1 week off, and they couldn't hold us down. It's now time for a brand new episode of Draped in Gold. It's your boy, Flobo Boyce, as always, not alone, being joined by the award-winning host, the real Jack Farmer. Jack, how are you, man?
I'm doing okay, doing as good as I can be. I'm doing some stuff in my usual spot where I record these, so I'm in the dining room right now. You get a little peek at Jack's dining room.
Yeah, is it like, is there a chandelier? Is it exquisite?
Yeah, we got a chandelier above me right now. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a pretty big one. Like, lots of diamonds and jewels hanging from it.
Oh, wow. Okay, I know you're a rich guy. I appreciate that.
Certainly not this dead fly that I'm noticing right now in the light bulb.
Certainly not. Man, I know we took a week off. You're probably going to one of your other mansions, but now you're back here in the Kingdom Redondo Beach. But how was your 2 weeks,
It was good. Let me double check here. I think I got the wrong.
Yeah.
Does that sound a little bit better?
It sounds fuller, but you sound lower.
Oh no. Oh, that changed I got to fix my camera too. I'm doing all the
it's live entertainment.
Live baby. But I don't sound loud enough now though.
No, you sound fine. You sound fine. Can I talk about me now because I'm way more important right now?
Because I'm clearly still figuring out my technical issues.
I was trying to put you over, brother. Jeez. Yeah, I took a couple of days, went out to Vegas. I saw NRL rugby, the NRL Australian Rugby League. It was pretty cool. Got a chance to be backstage in the All Access Pass, taking photos and content with that organization. So it's kind of cool to see how other sports do spectacle, especially at Allegiant, because Allegiant Stadium is the home of this year's WrestleMania. And that whole building is pretty swank. It looks ugly from the outside, but it's pretty nice.
I love it. I love the outside. I think it looks it's so fitting of the Raiders, you know? I feel like it just feels like it's a perfect situation for the Raiders and for that team.
Wait, what does that even mean? What?
Allegiant Stadium, because it's got the hockey puck look, the all black, like the team colors, and the Raiders just feel like they would have an all black stadium. So I think it's really cool. But I think it's cool that you had that opportunity to do the rugby, and I can't wait to hear more of you on rugby. But I think one of the important things about that, and I don't know if I can spill the beans or pull back the curtain or anything like that, but one of the reasons you got that opportunity is because of the support of our listeners and our viewers and the people who are part of this program. And so when we say things like, comment, share, subscribe, 5-star review, much like I'd love for everyone to do with this program right now as we're talking, it's for a purpose. It's not just because we need our ego stroked, but it does help a lot of those opportunities come up. So that is my passive way of saying, hey, everyone, like, comment, share, subscribe right now.
I do need the ego stroke. So Jack was right. I submitted to a contest. It was for American content creators to advertise the event. You guys or you gals or you bots shared it, and I got the chance to win the prize, which was all the access over there. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Look, and if it's bots that are liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, that's okay too. You can join the lurkers. I'm happy to have you here helping us out.
Hey, look, there's about a couple dozen just piling in right now. You know, they're all lurking, so appreciate that.
I always love the lurkers.
All right, so let's talk about what happened over the past couple days. I know you're probably jetting off to San Tropez or doing some fancy stuff with this culture, but Elimination Chamber was one of the better ones of the age. Now we're kind of late to the table here. I think everyone's pretty much analyzed the heck out of Elimination Chamber by now, but I just want to know your thoughts about this, because people were saying WrestleMania hype really wasn't on point, but that changed Saturday night.
Well, I just got to say that right off the top, last week we chatted about whether or not I like the Elimination Chamber. And I said, yes, I love Elimination Chamber matches. I love the elimination style of the matches. I love cage matches. It's really everything I like in a pro wrestling match. And it might be my favorite actual stipulation style matchup if we take away the fact that the Royal Rumble obviously has such high stakes and whatnot.
Wow, your favorite? Really?
I think so. Yeah.
Hell in the Cell, Falls Count Anywhere, the Fight Pit, Underground. Last man standing, strap matches. You're saying the Elimination Chamber?
I love the Elimination Chamber. I think when I'm playing 2K, I think Elimination Chamber is probably the match I play the most.
Well, hold on. Do you start off as number one, or you kind of hang out in the cages till the end?
I try to set it up as random. I usually do number one though. Like I don't want to just sit and watch the computer play for 20 minutes.
I have to ask.
Because when I play, I want to be the one that beats everybody. I want to run the table and pin everybody. I'll break up pins if people are trying to get the pins, even though it doesn't help me. I want to eliminate everybody.
You see that? I just imagine like Corey Graves be like, "What's he doing? What's Jack Farmer doing?"
I love the Elimination Chamber matches. I thought these were both very fun ones this year, and I love how they put it here right before WrestleMania because it does give WWE time to do some pretty special things on the road to WrestleMania. And I think most people would agree that the road to WrestleMania seems a lot more interesting to this week than it did this time last week. So it was a great show. A lot of big stuff happened. Obviously, I have a feeling you're going to ask a few questions about some of the things that happened. But yeah, I love the show.
Gotta give a shout out to Ricky St. Clair, Fins Up, who says he can't wait to play 2K25 tomorrow. I know we asked you about this the last time we were on Draped, but are you going to get this year's version of WWE 2K?
I think I might. I didn't get last year's version. I really wanted last year's version, but I was like waiting for it to be on sale, and then like I just got busy when it got on sale, and so I just kept waiting, and now the new one's out, and so I might just get the new one.
Do you get a regular edition? Do you get like the special edition, the Bloodline edition, or whatever?
I'm such a sucker. I am the reason capitalism is what it is because
you're the reason. It's you.
I'm the reason that the game industry is what it is. Because I always say to myself, I'm just gonna get the cheap one. I don't need all the extra stuff. But then I look and I'll be like, but I want the extra stuff. And so I end up getting the bigger version.
Hey, look, if you're a wrestling fan, we're all marks. It's okay.
And it's always the funniest thing too, because it'll be like, and this is why I'm the reason capitalism is what it is. And I'm the reason gaming is what it is because it'll be like the regular version has everything, but then like the gold version or whatever they're going to call it has a bunch of stuff I just do not care about, but it has Kevin Nash's taunt. And I'm like, but I do want that one taunt.
Absolutely.
Like I'm ever going to use it. I'll use it like once, but I'm like, that might be worth $20.
Oh my gosh. you are a whale. What are you doing?
You know what I'm talking about? It's always like some stupid thing on the expensive version that I'm like, I might like, oh, they have a diamond cutter in the expensive version as opposed to an RKO. I don't know. It might be worth it.
A plus LA says, I'll cop the regular version and grind my way to the top. This right here is the true believer. For me, I usually get the middle one. I don't usually get like the full on deluxe, but I get the middle one just for the accelerator for the story. Because I like the stories or the classic stories, but sometimes in recent, not as much last year, but in recent years, you grind for so long in like BCW and NXT. You're just like, oh my gosh, you know what I mean? So I usually get the deluxe just for that.
Yeah. It'll be interesting. This year is probably too late, but I don't want to tease too much the future of what we're going to talk about. But it'll be interesting to see if they still use BCW or if they just go to like Evolve or LFG and that kind of stuff going forward.
Yeah, for sure. So thoughts about the Johnny Cena heel turn, man? I know everyone's talked about it by now, but no one has gone on record quite the caliber as Jack Farmer.
Yeah, I didn't like it. I'm bummed out about it.
You're bummed out of a heel John Cena.
You know, I thought that at WrestleMania, they had the chance to do something really special. I thought they had the opportunity to have the true John Cena versus the true Cody Rhodes with something like a championship on the line. It's a legacy-defining championship for both of them. Really, this first run for Cody is a legacy-defining championship for him. And this could be the chance for John Cena to break the record and to do it in a way that feels really good. I think the end of WrestleMania could have felt really special if John Cena had stayed the way he was. But you know what? He sold his soul, as he said. He decided to join The Rock. And
bro, you can have both. Why not both? You can sell your soul and make stuff happen.
And you know, I think of all the Make-A-Wish kids. I think of all the people who have cheered him, and I feel like it's kind of like the Undertaker's streak, you know, where I feel like we had gotten so far, you may as well have just had him keep it. You know, we've gotten so far with him being this guy. You may as well have just had him finish it out as this guy. Where now, is it more unpredictable? Is it a little more interesting? Sure, but I think there's this part of the legacy I would have liked to have seen him stay, similar to a Rey Mysterio, just stay on the path and never give up.
So I offered you this because I understand that rationale. I mean, it really had been 20 years since his last. Well, I can't even call it a heel turn because he was like a laughable, likable heel, right? He was a rapper, but it's been 20 years since he was a bad guy. But if you think of John Cena, you're 50 years old. Generation you grew up with are now adults on their own. The properties you work, like the Peacemaker, is pretty adult. You might as well just do that. And look, you want to be a champion. You say yes, you want to be a champion. Why not put that little bit of unpredictability, whether or not he's going to walk away with the strap, being a bad guy in the mix?
It reminds me of when Captain America said "Hail Hydra," and it was kind of like, what? No, not
Well,
Captain
well,
America.
yeah,
It's kind of like Superman. I never want to see Superman be the bad guy. I never want to
right.
see. There's certain people like I want them to stay how they are. So I was a little bummed out about it. I'm sure there are some people like, you're supposed to be bummed out about it. Well, yeah, I guess that's the point. But yeah, I was bummed out about it. I wanted to see Super Cena give us one last go and see how far John Cena could go as the John Cena we know, but he didn't. And I see a lot of people saying there needs to be a third guy. I'd say there needs to be two more
Oh,
because
but there was the three, one,
yeah, he did
two,
this
right.
for John Cena because John Cena always does this.
What? That's not what he did that for.
John Cena always does this. Remember he came out and he did
also
this?
he also does this back in the day. Does that mean he?
So, and then when he did the throat slash, he did this. That means there needs to be someone else, but there's also needs to be a one. There needs to be one more. There needs to be two more people added. That's my prediction there.
Who do you think? Tag team or person?
I
Roman
think
Reigns is still on the bench, really.
I don't know who number 2 is going to be, but my prediction is number 1 is going to be a middle finger number 1. I don't know if we're allowed to do on these shows, but
Wow,
you know, read between the lines or whatever they say. I think Stone Cold is going to be number 1, and I think the one finger is going to be the middle finger of Stone Cold, but I don't know who 2 is. Maybe Jeff Jarrett. Ain't it great?
Wow, that's a deep cut. I like how that bridges AEW to WWE. It's we really need Jeff Jarrett at WrestleMania. Tony Khan's like, I'll allow it. Why not? No, you can't have MGF. You can have Jeff Jarrett.
Could you imagine? I love Jeff Jarrett. I am a huge Jeff Jarrett fan. But could you imagine the collective deflating of the room if it was like Stone Cold, John Cena, and then Jeff Jarrett?
Jeff Jarrett, that dragon meme with the two evil dragons and the one dumb-looking one. Yeah. Jeez,
I love Jeff Jarrett. Actually, I really, actually, genuinely love Jeff Jarrett too. So I'm not. I don't mean to pick on him, but it would be a little bit like, huh, him?
I got to give props to him. He's one of the few celebrity guests we had when we had a podcast on Spotify. So he's a good guy. But yeah, it would be like oh, yeah, I guess he's a legend. I mean, he really is, but it's like, oh, you know.
He is, yeah, but it's kind of like, you know, you have like, let's say you have Michael Jackson, Madonna, and then you have like, I don't even know who the third 80s person would be, but like someone who had like one hit from the 80s. We're like, oh, it'd be like Rick Astley or something.
Like, it's kind of funny because in some circles he's actually way more popular than the other two.
Yeah, it's true. Which is true for Jeff Jarrett also. But something I didn't like, I got to say about this whole thing is I didn't like that Cody Rhodes also had to lower himself to the level of The Rock and use 4-letter words. I didn't like that. That rubbed me the wrong way. I do think, hey, Rock, how does it feel when someone uses vulgar language at you? It doesn't feel so good, does it? But I didn't like that either. Didn't enjoy that.
Hey, Danny Cochran, I'll have you know that Jeff Jarrett's a 4 horseman. Oh, right.
He was in the NWO's. Oh.
Yeah, 2000. Yeah. Well,
he was also in the New Blood.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I guess he does. He does have end factions. Dang it, Danny Cochran. Stop with the truth. I'm with you on Cody. I like the fact that, don't get me wrong, I'm not a prude yet. I know guys around my age start saying things like, I'm no prude, but like I get that. I get that I'm going to be an old man. But if there's one person that is doing the Make-A-Wishes now and hugging the babies now, it's Cody Rhodes. And I can imagine you bought Elimination Chamber and they didn't even bother bleeping it out. It was like, yikes. You know? But
right.
That's just me.
I just that to me isn't
Ricky.
I don't know. That to me is kind of counterintuitive to who he is. It didn't feel natural.
Although it's a sentiment a lot of wrestling fans have about The Rock. By the way, I actually liked Black Adam. It wasn't great, but it wasn't as bad as everyone said it was. Am I weird?
I
Probably.
never saw it. It was on one of those ones I was like, I should watch it. I was gonna watch it, and I had it on the queue, and then it just never, something else always got to it. And then I was like, is it worth watching anymore? I don't know.
It's kind of like Geely. Everyone hated it, but no one saw it. A plus LA says something very important. Yeah, you guys sound old. I love from Cody, and I understand that. Don't get me wrong. Like wrestling isn't necessarily for my demographic anymore. Jack is timeless, but I'll tell you that in June I'm going to be hitting the big 4-0. I'm going to be an old man, right? I get that, but at the same time, you think about Cody Rhodes being so mad, he never used it where he got destroyed by Roman Reigns for not 1 year, but 2. Rock's like,
Right.
hey, you want to sell yourself? Go F yourself. It sounds kind of weird to me. It just seems like a character beat that was a bridge too far, personally, but maybe I'm middle man.
I'd say that too. It's not the word, it's who said it that doesn't rub me the right way. If someone else had said it, like in that moment after John Cena attacked Cody, and after all that, if he looked at Cody and then said it to Cody, I'd be like, oh, okay, now this feels like it fits. For Cody, again, if it was someone else who, like, if LA Knight said it, I'd be like, okay, that's cool. Like if someone else who's more edgy said, if CM Punk said it, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. But with Cody, it just felt very, I don't believe you.
Speaking of can I say this? Have you seen Evolve this week, man? Because I was mildly impressed. I wasn't blown away, and there's a big thing I think they can do to fix Evolve. But the first edition of Evolve was on Tubi this Wednesday, and it really was a showcase of the new up and coming class of new talent. Should you check it out? Thoughts about the show? What do you think about Evolve?
Yeah, I did watch it. I thought it was really cool. I think with you, I don't think it's a finished product right now. I think it's obviously got some things that could smooth out, but I think it was a cool way to showcase new people and give them a platform. It's so tough in pro wrestling, especially in WWE, to be on their shows and get noticed without just getting crushed by a superstar in seconds, where this gives these people a chance to showcase what they can do. I agree. I think there's some things that over the coming year they'll probably smooth out and make a little bit better, but I actually really enjoyed it. I think it has a lot of heart. I think a lot of the people on the show have a lot of heart, and it's cool to see. I think with pro wrestling too, it's very cool to see people coming up. I always say that one of my favorite parts about watching pro wrestling is watching the journey and watching people go from being at this level to this level to this level to this level.
Agreed, 100%.
Yeah, and so like I've always said, one of my favorite journeys was watching Booker T go from tag team to TV championship to US champion to world champion in WCW. I think the same thing with like a Seth Rollins going from NXT to being the Shield to slowly becoming that guy. It's so fun to watch, and this is just another level of that. And to get to see people get better too. So I think the show has a lot of heart, which is the most important thing, and I think the talent is there. I do think there's some things just from a production standpoint they can smooth out, though.
I feel like a BuzzFeed article. Here's one thing Evolve can change to make this a better show, right? But look, I like the idea. I was, I guess, past tense, a big fan of Level Up, right? After SmackDown, 30 minutes, a vibe, seeing the new up and coming wrestlers, I guess. Can we call them wrestlers? They do. Up and coming wrestlers and superstars and formerly divas, right? Doing their thing. But when I look at Evolve, the production, the sound, the feel is very much like NXT. And it's not, and even though Ava is the general manager of Evolve, it's not necessarily a bad thing. But what I liked about the original Evolve, not to compare the two, is that it really felt like an independent show. Now, I'm not sure how you would do that, but if I had to make a suggestion, I think they should go 1993 Monday Night Raw and have Evolve shows in bars, in nightclubs, in alt venues to have more casual fans watch the wrestling and give these people an audience. It did feel like it was a giant underground match from pillar to post. Now, not knocking. I love rookies. Rookies are great. I understand what I'm getting when I'm tuning into it. But there was a really big chance to make it look and feel like nothing else in the WWE portfolio, and it didn't happen.
Yeah, I would say that is kind of a problem with WWE at times as well, is I think they're overproduced in some ways. where I think, to your point, I think that would really help Evolve is if they were to roughen this up a little bit. It did feel like the show, it felt like we were in a sound studio and that they were trying to dress it up to look like a indie show as opposed to just doing it at a place that really feels like an indie show.
Right.
Uh, and I think that while Ava doesn't really impact a whole lot on the visual side of things, I think it would have felt a little better if they had a different general manager running it. So it did feel like an independent thing as opposed to oh, this is just an offshoot of NXT, which I think those are allegations they're going to be fighting for a very long time, that this isn't just NXT level up with different dressing.
Yeah, okay. Again, I feel like I'm such a complaining person. Why was it Mr. Stone and Stevie Turner the GMs of Evolve? Maybe that's a very, very small gripe because only one episode in there. But I'm with you 100%. It had to be different. Like, we know it's WWE. We know it's on a network that's off-brand in the US, on Tubi. It's on YouTube internationally. But to have Ava do both brands makes me wonder, what is the point in story?
Yeah.
What is the point in story? I know it's to develop talent, but like, in the portfolio of the show, what's the deal?
Yeah, and I'm glad you said that, because that's actually what I thought when it started, is especially when I heard that Stone was going to be on commentary. I was like, oh, that's perfect. Stevie Turner will be the GM because they've been kind of going back and forth anyways. So that's a great segue for both of them to have something. And so that's what I thought was going to happen. But I do really like your idea of doing it in, even if it's the same place, like a bar or something in Orlando nearby. So it does feel more like a independent company. Because if anyone, and I know not everyone watches independent wrestling, but if you watch independent wrestling, there's definitely a feel to it that is very different than what Evolve was. And again, I don't want to sound like you. I actually enjoyed the show. I'm actually excited to see what happens next.
I don't want to sound like you. Thanks.
I don't sound like
I don't want to sound like you.
But yeah, it did just feel a little bit too much like this is the NXT arena, and we're just going to throw some curtains up and try to pretend like it isn't. And so I wish it lived kind of more in its own world. I think it's cool that people like Luca Crocifino is going to have some chances there. But I also was kind of like, I kind of wish this was just the Evolve people.
Right.
And I mean, every now and again, like with NXT, where a main roster person will come down, I think that's fine. But I do kind of wish it was more, its own world, like an independent wrestling company when I'm watching it. And so I liked it, though. Like I said, I keep saying the word heart. I think that's one of the most important things in pro wrestling. I always say that's what made ECW great. A lot of people talk about the violence. I say it was the heart that company had back in the day. I think that's what WWE ECW had back in the day.
I actually agree. Yeah.
I think that's why those stood out. And so I think this has what you need. I would just like a few things not cleaned up, but dirtied up a little bit.
Oh, yeah. By the way, we belabor the point. I think we both recommend the show. So check it out if you have a chance. It's on Tubi in the US and YouTube internationally. I just kind of wish, if I had a wish list of what I want to see future episodes look like, be more rough and tumble.
Outside of obviously money is what dictates these decisions, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on a wrestling company having all of its brands under one banner, because maybe I'm just being annoying. Maybe I'm just being lazy, but it kind of drives me nuts that I got to turn to Netflix for Raw. I got to turn to USA for SmackDown. I got to go to CW for the CW app for NXT. I got to go to Tubi for Evolve. Can't we just get them all under Netflix and make life easy?
I think it is internationally. I think if you live overseas, that's the case. But like you said, capitalism, right? It's better to parcel out your packages to offer more channels a chance to run it. And I do think Evolve is a compromise that Fox had, because Fox owns Tubi after losing SmackDown. But you're right. If money was aside, it'd be cool to have a WWE hub. But that does raise a question about whether or not you reach the kids or the next generation if you're under one roof.
I guess that's true. It does broaden your net. I just hate having to remember what streaming service each one of these things is on.
Yeah. I hate the fact that I have to get so many apps. Legally, of course. But let's talk about an app I definitely have legally. That's Netflix. Monday Night Raw this week had a main event for the ages as Bianca Belair is looking on because she is somehow distraught about what happened to Naomi, but at the same time, really excited to see who's going to be her opponent at WrestleMania. Homegirl is trying to get herself an Oscar. The Women's World Heavyweight Championship was on the line. Rhea Ripley against Io Sky, and anyone who was a betting person would have the brutality era and Rhea Ripley walking with the dub. But Io Sky won this match clean as a whistle, and she'd be headed to WrestleMania. Two big questions from this, besides the Bianca Belair's thing, is the era of brutality over? And is Io Sky versus Bianca Belair a marquee match for Mania?
There is a lot to unpack from all of this. I want to talk about Bianca Belair's reaction during the Elimination Chamber as she saw Jade Cargill beating up Naomi, because I think Bianca Belair, she wasn't feeling bad or worried or confused. She knew that beatdown was meant for her, but she was safe in that pod.
What? Come on. We were arguing about this. We all knew Naomi's the one that would do it, not Bianca.
Bianca Belair is the puppet master that made this happen. Naomi catching a beatdown, and it's kind of like when you're a kid and you get in trouble and your dad first punishes your younger sibling and you see how angry he is there, and you know you're next and you're terrified about what's going to happen. That's what was going on with Bianca Belair. She knows that Jade Cargill is now coming for her. She knows that Jade Cargill has her next on the list, but she doesn't know when. She doesn't know where. And that's why Bianca Belair is so worried. That's why Bianca Belair is freaking out. Why do you think Bianca Belair didn't want to say anything when she was interviewed? They're like, what's going through your mind? And she was like, plead the fifth. Yeah.
She did not say.
She did not say. Always means you're innocent. Come on.
She didn't say that. I plead the fifth. Yeah, that's incriminating.
She pled the fifth is what she did.
Look,
and Jade Cargill is coming for Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair may not even make it to WrestleMania. Jade Cargill may take her out long before then.
For weeks, I said it was Naomi. I thought I was justified and somehow seemed to be right after Elimination Chamber because it made sense. Bianca and Jade were already tag team champions. There was nothing for them to lose of having Jade injured, but Naomi slotted in. She's a perpetrator. That said, though, Bianca does have a golden ticket to WrestleMania. So you're saying Jade is going to take out Bianca before the match in Las Vegas?
Well, I don't know if it's going to happen before. May happen during, may happen after. But Bianca Belair, clearly guilty. The thing is, and listen, I hear you. A+ LA says, I hear you, Jack, but why didn't Jade say something to Bianca in the chamber? There's nothing that needed to be said. Bianca knows what's going on. Jade knows what's going on. Everything that needed to be said was said to Naomi and visually there. And you talk about why would Bianca need to attack Jade Cargill? They were all tag team champions. Jealousy is a stinky cologne, Flobo boy.
I hate sticky colognes, man, because it's like it totally misses the mark, you know.
That's what happened. I think Bianca Belair was so used to being the EST when someone else came in with more EST than Bianca Belair had. Bianca Belair knew there was only one thing she could do: take out Jade Cargill. And now Jade Cargill is back to EST all over everybody.
I just don't understand that, man. Like, I hate my tag team partner, so I'm going to beat them up backstage and throw them into a car. That seems very extreme. You know what I'm saying?
Hate the right word. Jealous is the right word. She's
is
jealous.
It?
As long as Jade Cargill was there, Jade Cargill was the strongest. Jade Cargill was the fastest. Where does that leave Bianca Belair? She could like Jade Cargill. Yes, Jade Cargill is a great person. Jade Cargill, someone you should look up to, someone to try to emulate. But if your whole thing is that you're the EST and someone else is out there ESTing better than you are.
All right, so here's a question then. Io Sky seems like to be a sitting duck here. Is she going to be a transitional champion, you think, before this wave of evil Bianca, according to you, is going to take her title at WrestleMania?
Oh, no. I think Io is going to be champion for a long time. Io
Sky,
one of the best wrestlers on planet Earth.
Agreed.
For a very long time.
You could be a good wrestler, but be transitional. I mean, that's totally a possibility.
Well, because who's going to take it from her, right? I look at, we talk about Bianca. Bianca is about to start having to cash some checks that her mouth issued That's the problem. A plus LA says, hard for me to believe that considering Jade should be the jealous one,
Yes.
Bianca has accomplished way more. What does Jade have to be jealous of?
It's Naomi, man. Naomi was the one that was in that group, and she was pushed aside when Jade became her tag team champion. So she attacked her backstage so she could slot in to be the tag team champion partner. Doesn't make sense.
Was just doing what Bianca Belair told her to do. That's all that happened. That's all that happened. But I want to talk about Io Sky. Io Sky, one of the best wrestlers on planet Earth. I think Bianca Belair isn't going to be a factor much longer because I think that Jade Cargill is going to wreck Bianca Belair sooner rather than later. And we talk about the end of the era of brutality. I do think it's over. The era of brutality is done. And it did not come to an end on Monday Night Raw. It was over before Monday Night Raw. And for those of you who doubt me, think about the brutality era of Rhea Ripley. Brutality era Rhea Ripley wouldn't be John with Bianca Belair at ringside. Brutality era Rhea Ripley wouldn't be friendly with Io Sky before the match. Brutality era Rhea Ripley would have devastated everybody long before we got that far. I think that the success of Rhea Ripley made her a little soft. I think she became a little too nice. I think she cast aside the brutality era. Could she get it back? Maybe. But right now, this isn't the brutality era Rhea Ripley. This is the friendly, positive, love the fans era Rhia Ripley. Brutality era Rhea Ripley.
Love the fans brutality. Yeah.
I brutally love the fans. No, this is just a different Rhea Ripley. I'd love to see her get that brutality back, but we can't call this the brutality era. I mean, you remember brutality era Rhea Ripley. That was a different animal.
Yeah, Rhea Ripley had been dominant for about 5 years. And I don't want to put back the curtain. I'm not an insider, but to me, it was very telling at Elimination Chamber Perth when she won her match against Nia Jax, where there was a producer waving to the crowd to get them to be louder for Rhea Ripley. Not that is definitely an insider thing because I was a fan watching this. At the same time, though, it really felt like she was going to be in the mix forever. Like not to say Io Sky didn't deserve to win, but I just figured that Rhea Ripley was going to win a match. It was on Raw. I mean, whatever, like she's the champion. But this to me is a shocking defeat. This could be a sign that we're not going to see Rhea Ripley near that title for a while, especially if Jade and Bianca bubble over to the Io Sky situation come Mania.
Yeah, and it's a tough stacked division on Raw, and it's always growing and always getting tougher as more of the NXT women start to get moved up to the main roster. It's not going to get easier. Again, I think Rhea Ripley is incredible. I'm not saying sell all your Rhea Ripley stock. I'm not saying that she's cooked, as people say. I just don't think that this is the brutality era Rhea Ripley that we were used to. I think this is a much softer Rhea Ripley, and that's why she got caught.
Ricky Sinclair asked about what was in the box Chad Gable received. A pair of Hokas. Duh. No, I don't. Yeah, that's a good point. Chad Gable's looking to find the secret to beating luchadors, which is very, very late period WCW. But I got to ask, Jack, if you had to say what was in the box, what would be it for you?
I would say it's not as old as late period WCW. I think this was right out of the pages of Lucha Underground. I loved this. I am so on board for Chad Gable trying to discover the mysterious dark arts of Lucha Libre. I was hoping that it would show the face of the person talking and it'd be Dario Cueto.
That'd be a crossover. MLW? Why not? Yeah.
I love this. What's in there? I don't know. My guess was a mask of some kind. I think he's going to have to wear a mask if he wants to learn the dark arts of Lucha Libre. I like to call it the dark arts of Lucha Libre in this case, by the way, as opposed to Rey Mysterio's friendly Lucha Libre.
I mean, obviously, Penta Oscuro. That's very, very dark.
So I don't know what it is. I don't know who's going to end up helping him, but I am so on board with this whole thing. I love it.
I don't get it. Like, I feel like You know what it is? I blame NXT because there was a time where like every person on the roster like left for weeks to go find themselves. And you're like, hey, your job is to wrestle, not soul search in your own time. But I will say this could pay off if it means someone else shows up, or if you get a spooky gimmick, or if you get a new luchador. It's kind of fun.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who it could possibly be. I've said Juan Cena for a while. I think would be the right person to help him. But I love it. Like, you're right. It is a little weird that he left his job to go find himself. Imagine in the real world if you were, flipping burgers at McDonald's. Listen, I'll be back. I just got to go find myself.
The dark arts of chicken nuggets. Like, hey, come back.
So no, but this, I absolutely love that. That is the perfect example of I want to see what happens next with Chad Gable.
I don't know. I think it's kind of wonky, but it's okay. Yeah, Johnny Cochran says the conquistador. Uno or dos? That's the question I have.
Dos. Dos was always better.
Yeah, Dos was better. Give Dos their flowers. We got to shift gears over to NXT this week because much like running at Raw, the main event for Tuesday Night Delight was a title match. Tony Angelo, the North American champion, put his title on the line against Shawn Spears and his family. Get it? But Shawn Spears getting the dub. Now, two things came for this for me. Tony Angelo, I'm not trying to say it was kind of a footnote for the North American title, didn't have the aura as some of his predecessors. But secondly, Shawn Spears, someone who got signed about a year ago, was in danger of being lost in the shuffle. But you can't be lost in the shuffle if you're a champion.
Well, you kind of contradicted yourself there. You made it sound like Tony D'Angelo's champion and got lost in the shuffle, but now
I'm not saying he got lost. He was a champion. I'm just saying like it wasn't as impactful as some of the luminaries of that title beforehand.
I've said for a long time, Shawn Spears is the guy. I have always been a Shawn Spears fan. The guy. TV guy.
Hey, TV says I'm supposed to hate Canadians now. That's what TV is telling me. So
that's true.
I'm kidding.
They boo our national anthem.
Yeah, I'm kidding. I love the Canadians.
I do like. I've always been a Shawn Spears fan. And so him getting the championship, to me, just felt like a long time coming. This felt natural. This felt like he is the North American champion. You talk about Canada. Yeah, Canada has just conquered all of North America here on NXT. So suck on it.
Well, that's a foreign policy or someone. Yeah, suck on it.
You're going to have to pay a tariff if you want to see him wrestle now. Kid, how much of a tariff are you gonna have to pay to watch him wrestle?
I got 5 on it.
10. I think this is great, man. Shawn Spears is so good, and what he's doing to elevate these other people around him is great. I think if you're Tony D'Angelo, yeah, you got trouble. Yeah, I think the family has been in trouble for some time ever since Obafemi really came through there and showed that maybe the family isn't as powerful as they thought they were. And now if I'm the family, I'm looking around going, man, Obafemi messed us up. Shawn Spears' family has now come in and is kind of bossing around our territory. What do you do? Right. I don't know. They're in a tough spot, but Shawn Spears, man, kick back some champagne. You're the champion. You deserved it, and I'm happy for him.
Well, I think you mentioned my next question here. NXT 2.0, though I hate the name of it, in hindsight, was a very unique part of its history. I didn't like all of it, but there were some things I did enjoy. Paint splatter and everything. In fact, we had a paint splatter background. That was a very dark time for the show. But
very bright time.
Yeah, it was a very bright, very dark time.
Very dark arts.
Very dark arts. But does Tony D'Angelo fit in the new NXT? When you have guys like Obafemi, when you have guys like Trick Willie and Ethan Page, can you still have a family and it be viable on this silver and black brand?
Yes and no. I think it can be viable, but it can't be viable if you keep losing. That's the problem. It's very much like Legado del Fantasma, right? They were great, but they kept losing. And eventually they had to find new pastures because they weren't able to hang with the new family that had come in. And I think that Tony D'Angelo may want to call Santos Escobar and ask for advice on where he could move because if you can't stand with someone like Obafemi and you can't hang with Shawn Spears and you can't get past Fraxium, what are you doing? You gotta find a way. Otherwise, you're gonna end up like Chase U.
Yeah. By the way, Sean Spears recruiting Nico Vance and Brooke Jensen, smart move. Izzy Dame, also smart. Is there room for one more or two more in that group?
If you're Sean Spears, you're a thinking man's wrestler. He knows what
He's
he's
be
doing.
thinking.
He's a so he's a thinking man's wrestler. So is there room? The only one person could answer that, and that's Sean Spears.
Deep.
I do like, by the way, I don't know if you
Right.
saw this. After he won the championship, goes backstage. Shawn Michaels goes to shake his hand. Sean Spears says, "No, thank you, sir. No, thank
Yeah.
you." Doesn't shake his hand. Remembers that time that for no reason at all, Shawn Michaels super kicked him in the face.
Hey,
Sweet
hey,
chin music him while he was trying to do some work.
That was Stan. That was somebody else. He just kicked Stan.
So I'm glad that Sean Spears, he holds a grudge. I'm glad.
Do you hold grudges, Jack?
Forever.
What? I thought you were supposed to be the bigger man, the better man, someone who can look the other way.
Nope.
Jesus had two cheeks. Why not you?
No, good for him. Good for him. I got one.
Ash cheek. Wednesday was yesterday. Good for him. Damn. I mean, it was now time for general manager pick. And for those of you who don't know this segment, it's where I get to ask Jack as if he is the general manager of a particular brand of professional wrestling and ask him questions as if he was in charge. This time, you're going to be the general manager of Monday Night Raw. Oh, and your answer can't be Karrion Kross. Think about this. So, this week, because I hate that guy. I hate the fictional character Karrion Kross, not the guy who plays him. Please don't tag me and stuff. So, you get a mandate from upstairs, whether or not it's Triple H or Nick Khan or what have you. They say, look, we love your show. We want to have another one of those classic talk show segments, like, the Jericho highlight reel or Piper's Pit. You look at your roster, who would you elect to have a talk show segment to further storylines on your brand? Mind you, you're the GM of Monday Night Raw.
Karrion Kross.
Damn it! I said you can't pick him. That guy sucks.
Okay, fine. Scarlett.
Come on. What is Scarlett going to say?
The people who I think, if I could do a talk show segment, I give it to the New Day. I think those two are, and if one of them takes the lead, doesn't matter which one. I think they're both very entertaining. I think they have a lot to say. I think what makes good talk shows is strong opinioned people. They're both people with strong opinions. They're both very entertaining. I go New Day. What say you, Flobo?
Oh, Karrion Kross, duh. I'll be a fool to pick them. No, I even though I don't, I think he has a lot to give with wrestling this WrestleMania cycle. But after that, definitely Seth Rollins. I feel like Seth Rollins would be someone who's colorful enough to have his own talk show segment, to have that same kind of Piper's Pit kind of vibe. But yeah, that'd be my choice. But
no days the last thing he hasn't done yet. Seth Rollins. I feel like he's done everything except for have a talk show.
I think that'd be it. And Teddy Cochran says, bring back Carlitos Cabana. Now that is a deep cut. Speaking of deep cuts, I was actually watching old SmackDown from the mid 2000s, and there's a lot of, I call them guilty pleasure wrestlers, like wrestlers you can't defend as being good, but you really enjoyed.
Deuce and Domino?
Deuce and Domino, the Dicks, that's even more obscure. Heidenreich, remember Heidenreich?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, just guilty pleasure wrestlers, man. Who's your favorite?
My one of my favorite things to do, like a lot of people, like they rewatch WrestleManias a million times or whatever. My favorite thing to do is go back like decades ago like that and pick a B show and just watch a random B show. So I rarely watch Nitro or Raw, but like old SmackDown or Thunders or whatever, because that is like, I feel like that's the truest like view into like, oh my God, remember this time?
Yeah. No, it's super important.
Yeah. If you watch a Raw and it's like the Raw where Stone Cold did the beer bath, like that's all you really think about. And that's all that really kind of you remember from it. But when you watch the Thunders or the SmackDowns, because there was a time when SmackDown was clearly the B show, that's when you see those characters and those things like, oh my God, yeah, this is the person that actually filled 30 minutes of time with their matches or whatever.
Yeah,
And
Bam
it's
Neely
cool.
and Festus and shit.
Yes.
No, I'm with you 100% because I know we look at the Attitude Era and we go, oh man, it was so much better when Stone Cold was around. But going to a SmackDown from 2000 where they had like 9 matches and each match was 60 seconds long was awful from an athletic standpoint.
Right. But now you look back and you're like, oh yeah, that guy. S.A. Rios is like one of my
S.A.
favorite.
Rios is a legend. He was the best wrestler in No Mercy. So how about you bite your tongue there, sir?
The best moonsault of all time.
He was so good in No Mercy. Like people didn't know about him, but he was OP. He was OP.
Yeah, he was
But
great.
we gotta shift gears a bit because this Sunday, if you could imagine, AEW is heading to our current town of Los Angeles, California, for Revolution. And before we get to our predictions about that card, I want to talk to you about AEW. We said that last time they had an event, Grand Slam, that was pivotal for the brand and to get eyeballs on that show. I do think that this also applies because it's one, stateside, and two, it looked like Dynamite is on an upward trend. What say you?
Yeah, this is a really important one because it is on an upward trend, and it's not just with AEW. There's like 2 levels of fans. I mean, it's like this with every wrestling show, but we're talking about AEW. So there's like 2 levels of fans. There are the fans who are going to watch all the time, and they're always going to say it's good. And then there are the fans that are on the peripheral, kind of. I would say if this is a dance floor, there's the fans that are in the center of the dance floor, and there's the fans that are like on the edge of the dance floor, right? The fans that are in the center of the dance floor, the ones we're going to watch all the time, they've been saying for a while, Dynamite's been getting better, Collision's been getting better, AEW's been getting better. But now you're starting to even see on the outside, like on Twitter and on Instagram and Facebook or wherever they're talking about pro wrestling, the outside ones, they're always kind of casually interested. They're starting to say, you know what? AEW's been getting pretty good lately. They've been doing a lot better as well. And so they're starting to grow here. If they nail a home run, I think that's going to be huge for AEW.
Right.
If this is a dud, if it's a stinker of a show, I think they're going to lose a lot of people. And they're going to say, because a lot of people who have been sucked into it are going to be like, never mind. Okay,
Right.
This is why I'm on the outside.
To AEW's credit, this is the first pay-per-view that's going to be on Prime Video, which means if you have a Prime subscription, you'll be able to watch it without having to pay a individual charge for it. So it does seem pretty critical for them.
Prime, you do have to still pay for the show.
What? I hate it. No.
Because I thought that at first too, and then I saw that no, it's still you got to pay for it. Which
never mind. I'm confused.
I've had my rants about that, though they make a ton of money. So I get it from a business standpoint. But as a fan, I feel like you alienate a ton of people when you expect people to pay $50 every month to watch a show.
Sure.
But I do think that if they're able to stick the landing here, they're going to get a chunk of fans that are going to move from the outside of the dance floor to the inside of the dance floor. Now, that said, I don't think that Dynamite's going to be doing 3 million, ratings every week starting tomorrow. But I do think that that's the slow process of bringing people in that will continue.
Yeah, you'll be. Oh, look, I'll be honest with you. Like again, I'm from New York City, and so I'm from Brooklyn, but I'm from New York City, the area, and so my local promotion was always the World Wrestling Federation. I would probably be a Wrestling Federation person first, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. That's what I was raised on. But you do want the top 2 or top 3 or top 4, if you count MLW, to be good and to have a thriving roster and all that. So I'm actually rooting for AEW here, especially at the Staples Center, which is an arena that can hold 20,000 people, about 19,800 people. Hopefully they have a good turnout to show, hey, look, we can still be hot. I mean, wrestling is a hot commodity right now. Why not AEW?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so let's get into our predictions, man, because there is a lot of matches scheduled here. 9 of them for the main card, 1 on the prelim. Thanks to Wikipedia for doing it. I'm doing the Wikipedia order. Let me know what you think about who's going to win this one. Down?
Let's do it.
Cool. So this one here is for the AEW Continental Championship. It's Okada against Brody King. Brody has really been on some momentum over the past couple of weeks. Does he walk away with the championship?
I look at this one and I think that they have finally let the hound out of the house. This time it's all about Brody King. I think he's going to win that championship. I think Okada's been goofing around too long, and he's going to get caught by a big, bad Brody King who's going to make it rain Okada's blood.
I don't understand why that's a championship, but I'm with you. I'm with you 100%. This one here could be the show stealer if there ever was one. In the steel cage, it's Kyle Fletcher, a man with all the blue chips in the world, against Will Ospreay, the aerial assassin.
Kyle Fletcher, future of AEW, and I think he's in his legend killer era. I think he's going to start taking on some of the biggest names, getting wins over them, and I think that Kyle Fletcher gets the win.
Over Will Ospreay? Are you serious, bro?
Well, Danny Cochran says it right. You should give a spoiler warning since Jack is always right. Never been wrong. I've never gotten a wrong prediction. Asterisk.
Let's talk about the match. I actually made the poster here. MJF is pretty much done with Jeff Jarrett. He comes back full circle. And he has the challenge with Hangman Adam Page. It's MJF versus Adam Page in Los Angeles.
Adam Page, the Hangman, he's unstoppable right now. And, I think MJF is going to learn that he loves to poke the bear, but if you poke the bear, sometimes you get the horns.
Not sure if the robe is going to be on the line, but the AEW World Championship #1 contendership is on the line as Ricochet takes on Swerve Strickland. Now, Swerve was a former AEW champion. Ricochet is looking for his first trap. Does it happen this weekend?
Well, they did say the robe was on the line. This will be to get the robe back. So I got to go with Ricochet on this one. I think Ricochet is going to win. For years, Ricochet was trying to be something he wasn't, and it never clicked. Now Ricochet is being himself unapologetically.
Wait a minute.
I think that makes him unstoppable.
What do you mean something he wasn't? Was he? His thing was one and only. He wasn't trying to be unique. Is that what you're saying?
No, he's trying to be a nice guy. He's trying to be friendly. Didn't want to ruffle feathers. Now he doesn't care if he ruffles feathers. He's going to laugh in your face when you mess up. He's going to tell the jokes he likes. He's not going to subdue himself anymore the way he used to. He's going to be Ricochet, the real Ricochet.
Not the point, but I loved how Riccaboni was hurt that he wore an Eagles hat. He was like, guys, Eagles fans aren't like this. It's like, bro.
Riccaboni's a treasure. I want to hear him
on.
I want to hear him on commentary more. I love Riccaboni.
He's the man. Talking about people trying to make sure they are jerks. It's Mercedes Moné against Momo Watanabe for the AEW TBS Championship. Now, Mercedes Moné has 5 titles and counting. I mean, she'd probably get more if she's careful, but she may be in danger of losing one in Los Angeles.
CEO. CEO.
Sir.
CEO.
Sir.
CEO. CEO.
Is that your prank?
No, not just yeah. It's just...
I was like, I need a final answer, Jack.
CEO, yes, Mercedes Moné is going to win.
Shelton Benjamin and Bobby Lashley, the Hurt Syndicate, are taking on the Outrunners for the AEW Tag Team Championships. Now, this other thing is a short bet, but if I was a bet man, I'm going with MVP's boys.
There is such thing as a sure bet, and it's this one, and it's picking the Hurt Syndicate. We hurt people. Come on, no one's taking these titles from them. Who? If this was a video game, you could have 2 Brock Lesnar's against these guys, and the Hurt Syndicate's going to win.
True, because both of them do have victories over Brock Lesnar. That is pretty much a fun fact, which I find really fun. Speaking about things that are also fun.
That worked out great. Wow.
Yeah, you're just on it, man. Speaking about fun, false count anywhere match for the AEW Women's Championship. It's timeless Toni Storm against Mariah May. Looks like Toni Storm says, Mariah, your legacy is already tainted, but now I make sure you don't get the gold.
I'm giving it to Mariah May because Toni has been tied up with all of her Hollywood obligations, all of her movies and things. And as we've seen in the past, when people start getting tied down to movies, they tend to lose a step in the ring. And I think that that's going to cost Toni Storm. Mariah May gets the win. She's laser focused.
Have you know Randy Orton was in the Marine? No, he was in 12 rounds. Miz was in the Marine.
I think Randy Orton did a Marine too, didn't he?
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. No, it was no, he did 12 rounds. Kennedy and Miz did the Marine.
No, I'm pretty sure John Cena did 12 rounds.
John Cena did 12 rounds 1, but 12 rounds 2 was Orton.
We need to go back and rewatch 12 rounds.
All the WWE studio movies are just They're not good. They're just not.
I know. That's why we should go back. We should
Remember
do
the Chaperone with Triple H?
We should do a watch along
No,
for
please
these
don't.
movies. Oh my goodness, this
No.
would be incredible.
No.
We should do all the Marines. It'll take us 4 years to get through all 37 Marines, but it'll be great.
One time, this is kind of the point of this, but one time I had an interview with The Miz for my old job. And I was like, hey, I loved you in the Marine. And he didn't believe me. He was like, oh, yeah? Who was your favorite one? I was like, oh, definitely Marine 5, Lockdown. He goes, oh. The fact that I had an answer, like, totally threw him off. But spoiler alert, they killed him off in 6. Okay, so for the 8...
You ruined the watch along.
No one was going to buy into that. Let's be real. The AEW National Championship is on the line. Actually, one of my favorite championships in all of AEW, as Takeshita takes on Kenny Omega. Kenny Omega is on the comeback tour.
Yeah, Kenny Omega is the best bout machine. He's going to win this one. Kenny Omega didn't come back after all that just to take some losses. Kenny Omega is going to be your new international champion.
Stand corrected. Ricky Sinclair says, didn't Ted DiBiase Jr. do Marine 2? Remember when Ted DiBiase Jr. was the future of wrestling? Whew,
I thought he was. I would have bet on it. And I felt bad because I saw an interview with Cody Rhodes where he was like, said something along the lines of like, they were telling him Ted DiBiase is the future, so don't get in his way or whatever. And I was like, man, I would have been that guy back at the time. And Cody Rhodes totally made me eat it.
Hey, I feel the same way about Mason Ryan. That's a very deep cut in 2000s wrestling from Cardiff, Wales. And our main event, which is obviously not my favorite main event for many reasons, as Jon Moxley of the Death Riders, a story that has really been confusing to fans, are taking on Cope. Who do you got in this one?
Cope's going to win this one. I think he's gone through and he's taken away all the power from Jon Moxley. He's taken out all the Death Riders. I think that Copes gets the win here, and the Death Riders are sent packing. I don't know if we ever see the Death Riders again after this.
Here's a question for you. Depending on who wins this match, whether it is Moxley or Cope, who's next in line? Would it be the winner of the Swerve Ricochet match, or would it be Christian Cage?
I think it'll be, Christian Cage is the undisputed next champion. Yeah. So it could always be Christian Cage at any given time. I got a feeling it'll go Ricochet first, and then it'll go Christian Cage.
Oh, fair enough. Well,
now, that might be in the same night, but I think that's the order it goes in.
Interesting. AEW Revolution's on Sunday. I hope you get to make it. I won't be there, but hopefully you head down the street to Staples Center.
Yeah, I might go check it out, see if I have any pals that want to go with me and see it live. It's always so fun to go see a show live. It'll be interesting to see how AEW looks in crypto as well. That'll be a fun thing to see, and hopefully they sell it out.
Yeah, I mean, I do think they need it. Like, I like the fact they're going to smaller venues, and that's great. But imagine selling out the Crypto.com arena to show that AEW should come back west more often.
I think they should be west more often in general. I feel like
yeah.
I just feel like there's so much territory over here that doesn't get hit that often with these shows.
Just advocating for Modesto. I hear you. Before we get out of here.
That is Burbank.
Oh, yeah, or Bakersfield.
Or Bakersfield. That's what I was thinking. Bakersfield.
The Mechanics Bank Arena, home of the corn opening silo for their tour.
2008 corn tour.
Guys, there's actually a plaque commemorating that.
It's a big plaque, too.
So dumb.
It's not like a little thing that they just added for funsies. It's like someone was like, no, this is going to change. This is going to change.
This is the Bakersfield Walmart, guys. You're like, oh, gosh. One more special show happening this week, because Sacrifice will be the next week after. Let us know if you want to do a preview for Sacrifice. It'd be kind of fun. But NXT Roadblock on their road to stand and deliver, it seems. Roadblock is at MSG, or should I say, the theater at Madison Square Garden. For those of you who don't know, MSG, once you go into like the pavilion, there's like a left turn you make for a theater, and then the right turn for the actual arena. NXT is going to be at the left. It's going to be on the smaller venue, but that doesn't matter because you can say you're at the Garden. Anyway, 5 matches scheduled for that show. I'm going to run through predictions for that before we get out of here. I know Jack is never wrong, but now I get to challenge him. So, also in reverse Wikipedia order. Jordan Grace, after being signed to NXT, officially has her first test against the former NXT Women's Champion, Roxanne Perez. Who do you got?
This is probably going to be the toughest match of the night to call, but I'm going to go with Roxanne Perez. I think she's been sharpening her iron as iron sharpens iron, going to the main roster, being an Elimination Chamber. And after seeing what Jordan Grace did to Cora Jade, I got a feeling that Perez is going to show this newcomer what happens when you come to NXT.
Not a chance. Jordan Grace is going to eat her for lunch. Not a chance.
I think Roxanne Perez is going to hit some pop rocks and make this quick work.
I'm not sure why they call it a New York City street fight, because we use weapons that usually lacerate, but Ethan Page against Javon Evans, one of your favorite wrestlers in the roster.
This one's easy to call because look at these two, the trajectory they've been on. Ethan Page has been on a tear lately, while Javon Evans has been on the mend. So, of course, I'm going with Ethan Page. Come on.
Fair. The Hardy Boys are going to be back on the NXT pay-per-view for the first time ever, but they're also back in the WWE system on a pay-per-view for the first time in like 10 years. Not granted, Roadblock is a TV show, but still, tag team match for the tag team championships. It's the Hardy Boys against Fraxium.
I'm going Fraxium. I don't like these outsiders coming into NXT, and I got a feeling Fraxium is going to show the Hardy Boys what happens when you come onto their turf.
So you're telling me Nathan Frazier and Axiom are taking the TNA Tag Team Championships?
Yes.
Whoa!
Listen, Fraxium, they're going to show the Hardy Boys. Look, the Hardy Boys don't have any business in a WWE branded company. Come on. What have they done to earn the right to be in a WWE branded company?
Yeah, they're a bunch of ham and eggers.
Fraxium, they're going to get the win. They're going to become the champions, and maybe they go over to TNA and show TNA how it feels to have some champions come walk all over your roster.
Now it's time for the actual prescribed main event, Obafemi versus Moose. This is actually the first time that two men of Nigerian descent are be running for the titles, but this time only Obafemi's NXT championship is on the line. Does Oba survive Moose in New York?
I said it before, I'll say it again. I go NXT all the way. I don't back these other companies coming in trying to muscle around on NXT territory. I am an NXT person. I go with Obafemi, the master and ruler of the universe. Yes, I know there was another wrestler who used to say that, but now it's Obafemi's. Obafemi rules everything. I'm going with Obafemi.
And lastly, my main event, because this one here can go either way. We're talking about our women's championships. Julia, the NXT Women's Champion, Stephanie Vaquera, the NXT Women's North American Champion. They're doing title for title. Vic Joseph called it a unification match this week. I didn't think it was going to be, but it's a unification match. It's Julia against Stephanie Vaquera.
This one is tough because both of them are outsiders, but I'm going to go with Vaquer because I think that both of them have very high ceilings. I just think Vaquer's is a little higher.
I don't understand the aura that Vaquer has. She doesn't talk much, but she just shows up. You're like, what's her deal? Like, I need to know more.
Right.
And not to Julia's fault. I mean, she's been a serviceable champion, but it does feel like Vaquer is on the wave that Julia just doesn't have, you know?
I agree. I'm a big Vaquer fan. I think she's got a very high ceiling. I think she'll be main roster very soon.
Yeah, and if the rumors are true that she chose NXT to learn English and she had an invitation to go to the main roster when she got signed, it's definitely believable because she's already a star. Well, that's going to be next Tuesday on CW. Live from New York City, which is interesting because Roadblock NXT is also on the road more days than we thought they were going to be since moving to the CW. Between that and Revolution and WrestleMania season, man, how do you keep yourself sane with so much wrestling on TV?
Well, it's a lot of wrestling, I'll tell you that much. But fortunately, it's all good right now. It'd be very tough if we were in the 2018 era and there was this much pro wrestling on TV. Fortunately, it's all really good right now. So that's kind of how I keep myself sane. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. Anything you're looking forward to this week in particular? Like any particular match or show or?
Yeah, Revolution has me intrigued. I'm very excited to see how that one plays out. A lot of matches on there that could be company changing, like the Cope versus Mox match. I think that that could change a lot of the direction of what we're seeing each week on Dynamite. But also, you look at like Kenny Omega in his comeback. How back is Kenny Omega? I think there's just a lot of interesting things happening there. A lot of big matches that I feel like could main event a show, like a Ricochet Swerve, like a Adam Page MJF. This is a stacked show for AEW.
Hopefully it works out for them, and I'll make sure I'll check it out. Maybe a day behind because I'll be traveling this weekend. But that is it for this edition of Draped in Gold. Can you believe it? 172 episodes of this Thursday morning delight. Jack Farmer, if I'm trying to connect with you, if I'm trying to book you for things, how do I go about doing that?
Best way to do it is to follow me at Real Jack Farmer across all social media. I'm going to be on the call tonight at Santino Brothers Fight Night, so you can check that out on Triller if you're not in the area. If you are in the area, get tickets. But I'll be on the call there, also doing some ring announcing, so my voice is going to work.
Whoa. Triller? You guys are actually on a network I can access? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah. Big things. Danny Cochran says, I love the shirt. Jack wore it when I flew back to Seattle. Thank you so much, Danny Cochran. Thank you so much for picking one up. You can pick one up. Just DM me on any of those social media platforms, and they are for sale.
Anyway, if you guys want to check out my blog where I talk about things in sports, much like my experience with NRL Rugby League, make sure you check out justthesandwich.com. I usually type there once a week or so, but I'm not doing anything as cool as Jack Farmer because I can't compare, man. I'm just not. I can never compare myself to you.
Oh, yeah, you're doing okay. You'll get there.
We'll be back next week and talk about more of the wrestling arts and sciences. Let us know if you want us to run down the next TNA pay-per-view, Sacrifice. We will be able to go with a preview for that as well. But until next time, my friend, say the words.
Do your best and be yourself.